Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Welcome to Talking Politics. My name is Robert Press, host of this show, and I am a reporter for the Bronx Chronicle. Here is my press card to show you that I am. It's an official New York City press identification. I also write for the Co-op City News and Park Chester Times, which along with this show is part of Muslim Media Incorporated. It is currently, let's go to the weather because it is currently raining outside my windows. And this wet weather should stay with us for most of the day, with the temperature hovering in the high 70s. Tomorrow is expected to be a beautiful day for the beach in the mid 80s. And Sunday will also be nice, but it'll be a little cooler in the high 70s. Before I get into politics, well, which is a political statement anyway, tomorrow is State Senator and Bronx Democratic County Leader Jamal Bailey's birthday. He will be 41 years old tomorrow, and unfortunately, I have not been invited to the birthday party, but I do want to wish Senator Bailey a very happy birthday that I know he will enjoy with his lovely wife and twin daughters. On to some of the politics of the day. First, there are still about 800 people or more that are still missing from the wildfires that torched parts of Maui and devastated the historic town of Lania, which is according to local officials. Now, President Biden was there. He made his little pitch here or there. He petted one of the dogs that go searching for survivors. And, what can I say? The other thing is the Biden administration finally agreed to lease Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn to house about 2,500 single adult male migrants. Governor Kathy Hochul said that the state will be doling out an additional $20 million to help those asylum seekers find work. Now, we know that the big issue of the day will be Donald Trump, who was brought into Fulton County, the courthouse yesterday, where he surrendered. But there are things that are going on that people need to know. House Republicans opened a probe into Fani Willis ahead of the Donald Trump surrender. The Republican-led House Judiciary Committee opened an investigation into District Attorney Fani Willis Thursday over whether her prosecution of former President Donald Trump is politically motivated. In a letter to Willis announcing the probe, Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan of Ohio asked Willis to turn over a series of documents to the committee by September 7th. Your indictment and prosecution implicate substantial federal interest, and the circumstances surrounding your actions raise serious concerns about whether they are politically motivated, Jordan wrote in a letter. Jordan added that it was noteworthy that Willis has launched a re-election website that highlighted her investigation of Trump prior to announcing the indictment. District Attorney Willis is leading an investigation into Donald Trump's alleged efforts to overturn the Georgia 2020 election. An Atlanta grand jury last week issued a 41-count indictment against Trump and 18 co-conspirators. Now, I believe half of them, at least 9 of them, have already come into the courthouse, and today was the last day for them to appear to be sentenced. I will show you a picture of Donald Trump later on. The district attorney's spokesman for the district attorney's office said we are declined to comment on the Republican-led inquiry. On the other hand, but for Trump, whose face is already the most recognized on the planet, the photo was more of a symbolic gesture. As you can see here, this is the mugshot of Donald Trump, which should be worth millions and millions of dollars in donations to his campaign. Trump's campaign was already selling merchandise featuring a fake booking photo, and there were signs his aide would use this official image to his advantage in his run for the GOP nomination. Trump took to social media early in the week to boast that he would probably be arrested. His Democratic opponents are almost certain to advertising with his photo too. Trump told Fox News in an interview late Thursday that having the photo was not a comfortable feeling and he denied any wrongdoing. He was booked at the Fulton County Jail Thursday night on state charges that he conspired to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in Georgia. Trump is one of 19 defendants charged with racketeering and other crimes in the Georgia case. The former president was later released to the public, and Trump is facing charges in 4 separate criminal cases, but this is the first time he had a mugshot taken. Trump faces 13 counts in Georgia, including, like I said, the racketeering charge and several fraud and false statement counts, which I mentioned last week. He was released on $200,000 bond. They insisted I take a mugshot, and I agreed to it, Trump told Fox. This is the only time I've had him ever taken a mugshot, and he insisted again that he is innocent. Former President Trump says he feels sympathy for some of his co-defendants in the Georgia election case, saying their lives are destroyed by the criminal charges. Those people who have been so unfairly dragged into this, these are high-quality people that I don't even know why they were brought in. Trump posted on X, which was formerly known as Twitter, for the first time since January 2021, when he was suspended from the site after the riot, because of the rioting at the U.S. Capitol. His new post, a picture of his mugshot with a caption reading, "Election interference and never surrender." Trump has begun using his mugshot to raise funds for his campaign shortly after being booked and heading home to Jersey. Trump's attorney signaled that they will fight DA Willis over her proposed October 23rd trial date, which is just 2 months away. Trump's attorney said in court filing earlier Thursday, they plan to sever his case from co-defendant Kevin Cheeseborough, who seeks a speedy trial. Trump has sought to push the potential trial and other active cases until after the 2024 election. An interesting note that is come to light is that in May earlier this year, Governor George Brian Kemp signed into law a bill that gives the power effectively to meddle into state investigations should they dislike the prosecutor leading them. Senate Bill 92 establishes an oversight board appointed by the governor and other state officials that will have the power to remove or hamper the work of the panel. Prosecutors the panel deems incapable of doing the job they want these prosecutors to do. In a press release, Georgia's governor claimed the bill is actually meant to get rid of rogue or incompetent prosecutors who refuse to uphold the law. And he claimed the new board will hold prosecutors driven by out-of-touch politics accountable. Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Wills, who was investigating Trump's election fraud, alleged election fraud, has called the legislation racist and retaliatory. As for Trump, the Republican debate Wednesday night, Donald Trump did not attend. There was what appears to me positioning for what appears to be Trump's possible vice president. As for how it went in my eyes, the Republican debate on Wednesday night, I feel that Ron DeSantis needs a lot more work on his answers. Vivek Ramaswamy was called out more than once for his amateurish answers. I felt Nikki Haley and Senator Tim Scott were the two winners of the debate. Former Vice President Mike Pence tried to say all he did as Vice President, making sure he didn't mention Donald Trump's name. Chris Christie reminded me of his last run for president. And who are Don Burgum and Asa Hutchinson? And will they be at debate number 2? Because the minimum amount of money raised and percentage in the polls becomes higher to go into the next debate. There were several people who were left out of the debate, including the Miami mayor and a couple of others. Now, on to a constituent update from Congressman Adriano Espaillat on student debt relief. At the end of June, the conservative majority of the Supreme Court struck down President Biden's plan to cancel $20,000 in student loan debt for 43 million people. 97% of student loan borrowers are low and middle income Americans, and 90% of the total relief from the plan would have gone to those making under $75,000. It was a terrible decision. Congressman Esbiat said, but that doesn't mean there aren't other options for relief. President Biden has announced he will be using the Higher Education Act to try once again to cancel student debts for millions of borrowers. I'm going to keep working in Congress to get this done. In fact, President Biden has recently announced the Department of Education will forgive 804,000 borrowers who held a total of $39 billion in student debt. It's called Revised As You Earn Payment Plan, Pay As You Earn Plan, Income-Based Repayment Plan. With this plan, your payments could be low as $0 a month, depending on your income, and an income contingent repayment plan. You could figure out these plans, which is best for you by using the loan simulator. President Biden has also finalized new savings on a viable education save program to make sure that no borrower who makes less than $15 an hour will have to make any student loan payments. I'm honored to be your representative in Congress, Congressman Esbiat says, and I will continue fighting for full student debt cancellation for individuals and families who call New York's 13th congressional district their home. This note before we go to our commercial from the New York State Republican Chair Ed Cox on how Kathy Hochul is handling everything. New York's Republican Party Chair Ed Cox released the following statement yesterday after two bombshells earlier this week. A comprehensive Bloomberg News study showed that New York has lost firms managing $1 trillion, which has been backed up by Wall Street Journal, to states with friendlier business climates, and a Sierra poll showed that Kathy Hochul's favorable rating is now at a low of 40%. Chair Cox goes on to say, under one-party Democratic rule in Albany and in the Big Apple, New York is a state in decline. Their tax hikes and burdensome regulations drive businesses away, taking with them high-paying jobs and tax revenues. Democrats' failures to address the declining economy, mismanagement of their immigration crisis, failed crime policies, and disastrous cannabis licensing rollout have put Governor Hochul's favorability underwater. New Yorkers deserve a government that will pave the way for job creation, prioritize some crime policies, and put an end to these insane immigrant policies. I'm now going to take a break here for my commercial, and I will bring on my guest, Renata Rafi, who is the president of the Indian Village Alliance, and we will talk a little further about what's happening at Jacoby Hospital and Just Home, and possibly some updates about CB11. So let's go to a commercial. Let's go to a commercial, Mr. Producer.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you.
Before I bring on my guest, I just have a few items here. That State Attorney General Letitia James has begun an investigation of the medical services provided by DocGo for possible violations of state and federal laws. over the treatment of migrants and its care, according to correspondence obtained by the New York Times. .go, the company helping New York City handle the migrant crisis outside New York City, is facing a litany of complaints, including accusations that its representatives or subcontractors deceived and threatened migrants, and that it interfered with a police investigation into two alleged allegations of sexual assault in migrant shelters upstate. This was a $450 million no-bid contract that was obtained by .go from the mayor, and according to City Controller Landa, it was done on a emergency basis, which means that it does not have to be reviewed by the controller. Next, I just want to say that there was another death on Rikers Island and more problems for the Department of Corrections and Mayor Adams. On Tuesday, August 22nd, Danny Ubira, of 33, was found unresponsive in a medical observation unit on Rikers Island and later pronounced dead. He is the 8th person to die from their incarceration, and immediately following the release of New York City's dangerous jails this year, the 27th death since Mayor Adams took office last January. Ubira had a sentencing hearing for September 22nd, according to court records that show he was in custody related to murder and weapons charges. He had been in the agency's custody since March. Ubira's death is the fourth of Rikers this summer and comes on the heels of a scathing report from the federal monitor charged with overseeing the city's Department of Corrections. The report of a federal judge, it is said that the U.S. attorney, the city controller, and others are calling for the closure of Rikers Island. Now, it appears that this gentleman died from an overdose. The preliminary reports are that he died from an overdose of, let's see, where is it? Methadone, rather, pardon me. It's one of the other prisoners who I won't name. He's said that the person was drinking from a milk box that contained a mixture of methadone powder with water. It was such a large dose, this prisoner said, that the Ubera offered to share it with others, but they declined the offers. It must have been such an overdose of methadone that he was last seen. This prisoner saw Ubera alive at 9 p.m. when people in custody, the DOC, were locked the prisoners in their cells for the night. Around 1:30 a.m., this prisoner said he could hear Ubera calling for help, banging on his cell door while grasping for air, seemingly unable to breathe. According to sources, though, that from the DOC, when they opened the cell doors at 5 a.m., they made the rounds. Now, what it appears, though, is that why was there no rounds from 9 p.m. to 5 p.m., 5 a.m.? And this other prisoner is worried that he will have repercussions against him. A civil rights attorney, which represents several people in custody at Rikers, said that correctional officers are supposed to make rounds every 15 minutes in the mental health units, like this one that housed the other prisoner in Ubella, since people are considered at risk for self-harm. Now, the question is, why are these the people that are going to be coming to Just Home at Rikers at Jacoby Hospital? It's very important that we know who is coming to this program because, and let me introduce my guest here, Ms. Renata Raffi. How are you, Renata?
I'm good, Bob. How are you today?
Okay. Why don't you tell us a little about your organization, of which you are president and I am the secretary. It is the Indian Village Neighborhood Alliance, TIVA for short, and it is growing. So why don't you take over for here and talk about TIVA and what we're doing?
Thank you, Bob. So my organization is set up right now for the Just Homes Initiative, which was introduced to us back in September. I see people are posting on Facebook recently about it, that it seems like to them it's a new initiative, but it's an initiative that was started over a year ago. And we have been closely monitoring this situation. We have recently spoken at the HHC public meeting that was held at Jacoby, and there were at least 20 of us who got up and expressed our concerns as to what would happen if you would bring these individuals here. Again, we're not against development or helping people. We're against the idea that it does not seem like it's clear as to exactly what is coming here. When the plan first was introduced into the neighborhood, they stated that it was strictly pre-trial detainee, that they were convicted people that were at the end of their life, which means that they were non-mobile, they were dying, and there was no coming back for them. Now the narrative has changed to pre-trial detainees who are currently incarcerated, and they could have any type of a medical condition, even including high blood pressure, and they could refuse the right to get any form of treatment. Furthermore, the 49 precincts stated to us that they have no type of extra security that they could provide to us or even give to us to support our community for this influx. This project is going to sit across the street from a residential neighborhood. There is no access to subways. There's no access to buses, supermarket, shopping. It is almost a setup for failure for these fellow individuals that are in there. Marjorie Velasquez has stated in the past that she is completely against this project, but it looks like she's trying to schedule the vote for the day after the election. Why was she not schedule the vote for before the election and show that she's going to stand with this community?
That's correct. I've heard those same wording that her and other elected officials have moved away from finding anything else for this building number 2.
Correct.
That's empty in the Jacoby premises at 1400 Pelham Parkway, which was this building number 2 originally was known as 1900 Seminole Avenue, but because of the outrage of the community that lives on Seminole Avenue and in Indian Village, they decided to change it to 1400 Pelham Parkway, the address.
Correct.
Now, as far as the election goes, now I did something yesterday. I looked up to see who our candidates are for the November election, and I can't find any of them. I wonder why, because the only thing I could find was the Queens special election in Assembly District 27. It had the names of the candidates, it had the poll sites. There were 3 poll sites in that Assembly District. And when I went to the general election, it said the general election is November 7th. Polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Early voting is October 28th to November 5th. It gave the dates, but there were not one candidate in any city council race. It's interesting because primary day was June 28th. So we have the end of July, August, and most of September, probably until this special assembly race is official sometime in September, that we won't know who is running. But we do know that there is one important race in the 13th council district, which is Marjorie Velasquez, the incumbent, as you said, against Christy Maramato. I know you worked on Christy Maramato's campaign, so would you like to say a few words about Christy? And I invite incumbent Councilwoman Marjorie Velasquez to come on this show and give her side. So take it away.
Yes, so Christy Maramato is running for city council in the 13th district here. She's a person that has little to no political connection to her. She's not a politician. She grew up in the neighborhood, and she currently resides in Morris Park. The reason why she became involved in politics was one reason and one reason only: the Just Homes Initiative. Once she went to her elected officials and she couldn't get any results, or they wouldn't be willing to talk to us or give us further information, it came a time that she knew that she had to make a choice. And the only way to try to change the trajectory of this neighborhood and what is happening with it is to get to get Christy Marmorato elected into city council. People don't understand how much city council controls in this neighborhood. City council controls what's going to be upzoned, what's going to be downzoned, what is going to live in your neighborhood, and how much money is allotted for your community to spend. I feel that Marjorie has not aligned with any of the views of this neighborhood. One of her biggest things was the Bruckner upzoning that she publicly was against. Then the day of the vote came, again, she stated that she was going to vote for it. So currently now Bruckner is in the middle of a huge war and court with the Bruckner upzoning that's going to infiltrate a small community. These communities here that are in the 13th district are smaller communities that cannot have big city influences on them. Our sewer systems, our school systems do not support any of this upzoning that they want to be done here. The Metro North is coming here, and I'm afraid that if Marjorie Velasquez is in office, she will upzone the entire areas that this Metro North is going by.
Speaking of the Metro North station, as I mentioned last week, the Harrison Metro North station got some new apartments that they objected to, but they were built there, and they received 147 affordable housing units. Now, Morris Park is not that different from Harrison. Maybe the homes are a lot more expensive up in Harrison, but it's a suburban community like Morris Park is. It is mostly single homes with a few apartment buildings scattered throughout the area. Now, I couldn't understand why we're getting 3,000 apartments at the Morris Park station from Metro North and from our beloved Mayor Eric Adams and our city councilwoman who will be, helping him. Now, as you said, that there is no subway or bus near the Jacoby campus, the BX12 bus runs right in front and goes into Manhattan. The subway stations are maybe a half a mile away from the site, and I don't think that people will be walking from there to the subway. Like I said, the only bus is the 12, which is right in front, which is what the Health and Hospitals Corporation said, that people can take the 12 bus to anywhere they want. You mentioned shopping. We know that Stop and Shop supermarket that was right outside on Eastchester Road has closed. It closed in July. So there is no supermarket in the area. The closest one would be probably the one on Morris Park Avenue. Big deal, which again is far, you're talking about almost a quarter of a mile or more, and people are not going to be walking back with groceries for about a quarter to a half a mile. Granted, you have Fresh Direct that can deliver, but these are going to be small 400 square foot apartments. Better yet, you know what? The Indian Village Alliance should talk to Jacoby Hospital and the Health and Hospitals Corporation and be in on this to see what's going on. We're not getting any more information from Health and Hospitals Corporation about this. I'm being told it's a done deal by certain people. So we need to do something. The community board voted against it, but from the last appointments, it appears that Borough President Vanessa Gibson has put on certain people that are friendly towards this just home. And it looks like that maybe now the majority of the board will reintroduce the issue and vote to approve just home. Do you have any comment on that?
I don't know what they're going to do. I do know that it's not a done deal yet because it hasn't been voted on, and nor has the paperwork been drawn up. So people going around saying that it's a done deal, or just people that are trying maybe to make a scare in the neighborhood, or maybe not trying to stay here and fight. But we are a community, and we've been fighting this over a year. Nothing has happened so far with our fights, and we continue every day. I welcome everyone to join our webpage, the Indian Village Alliance, and you could go there and you could find out up-to-date information, and we will protest if necessary again. We have already staged quite a few successful protests. We even protested just homes down in Manhattan. We have no problem going to where they are to protest them and make their lives uncomfortable like they're doing for us. I encourage everyone to stay and fight because this is our community. If we keep running, how far are we going to run? It's coming everywhere.
And the problem is, though, and I don't understand why our borough president is not looking into this, why all of these people incarcerated who are in the infirmary are being put into 2 Bronx hospitals. Now, the Health and Hospitals Corporation is building a new hospital in Far Rockaway. They have other hospitals. There are 11 other total hospitals. I'm surprised that the 3rd hospital in the Bronx isn't getting these people either. So I'm wondering, where is our borough president on fair share? Because they have to, as they are doing with the city jails, they have to provide, they can't put it all in one borough. But here they're going to put all of these people from the infirmary into just, to one borough, to 2 hospitals. North Bronx Central already is being set up. The 2 top floors have been closed off, and they're building. That'll become a jail ward or a prison ward with Department of Correction of People. And we will have at Jacoby a building with other people from this, infirmary who will be put there. And they won't have any security there. There'll be just a person sitting at a desk from the Fortune Society. Now, we have to close the show, so is there any closing comments that you have? So let me turn it over to you right now.
The only closing comment I have is that if you want to fight, please join our Facebook, and also please go out and vote for Christy Marmorato, as she is one of the last people who will probably save this neighborhood. Because if Marjorie wins, I feel like it's just going to be upzoning and just homes and criminals running the street and continue this society that we're living in that I don't even recognize much anymore.
No, I'm going to agree with you, because in 10 years, you probably won't recognize this neighborhood if this happens.
Correct.
And I invite the.
This happened in Riverdale. Riverdale and the northwestern part of the Bronx is a prime example as to what's happening. When I went to school in Manhattan College, there was very rarely any buildings. Now I go to Riverdale, it looks like New York City. Building upon building upon building. These areas here, such as this, we are like the suburbs of the city, where we want a nice, quiet residential, but we also want a little city vibe feeling here. And that's what we strive for every day.
Well, developers are already going to homeowners and offering the money for the homes. Again, like we see this happening in the Throgs Neck area on Crosby Avenue there, that homes are being torn down, and, single occupancy unit houses are being, apartment buildings are being built, where you had a family of maybe 5 to 6 people. You now have 40 single people living in these apartments. They're so-called 1-bedroom micro apartments. And like I said, I'm at the end of the show, so I want to thank you, Renata, for coming on.
Thank you, Bob.
And talking about the Indian Village Alliance. Our fight against Just Home is not over, because it's the fair share issue that when I raised that at the Health and Hospitals meeting, all of a sudden these people were looking at their cell phones, picked their heads up, and when the 2 words fair share came up. So I'm going to close the show right now. I want to thank our audience for watching, and those of you who will watch it in the future on YouTube, and our comments that came across that I couldn't answer, but I'm going to end the show here. So thank you for watching.
Bye.
Undoubtedly, Africa is the best tourism destination on Earth. The continent is blessed with the most conducive atmosphere. To feel and enjoy these blessings, join the most productive one-week tour of the continent organized by Daylight Africa every September 2nd to September 9th to see beyond the fallacies about Africa on the mainstream media. Contact us at daylightafrica@gmail.com or call 718-822-5555. Daylight Africa. Revolutionizing tourism industry.
Do you wish your business makes it to the top list of the most searched for business in the US and around the world? Or are you searching for halal compliant services and products online? Then Halal Finder is your online resource directory, pointing you to the right places and products. Let's help you explore halal products and services of your choice as we manage many halal businesses across the world. Promote your business with halalfinder.com, the only plug you need to grow. Our services include business listing, digital marketing, branding strategy, SEO campaigns, crowdfunding, and humanitarian support. On our Compassion Corner, we offer crowdfunding of halal ventures and humanitarian services. In this section, you can make or receive donations, start donation campaign, and check existing donation campaigns, and by paying zakat and sadaqah to our Compassion platform. In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted, and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York PARROT, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your product and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York PARROT, you can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the website they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our new site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York PARROT is born to prosperously speak tomorrow for the voiceless.
Hi, I am Dustin Pickering from Parrot Literary Corner. You know me, your noble and honest host.